Morning all. Q&A time again. Welcome back. This week we'll be mostly covering breakdowns and of course the old miscellaneous stuff. Right, but basically firstly thank you all to your everyone for your support, to Nicholas, to Damien, Luton Govan. Yeah, it was the alternator. A big light come up on the dashboard to say it's the alternator. Then I had to get recovered to a service station which took 4 hours so an AA man could tell me it's the alternator. I know that. There's a big light on my dashboard that says your alternator's broken. A 5-year-old can do it. He can't drive a van, he can read. And also to Khalid Ben Abu, and to Donkey and Digger, John, thank you, and Steve Davis and everyone else. Thanks very much for the support, guys. It's just one of them things, it happens. So anyway, RK said, I think I mentioned this in the last one, he said you should have told him he was born in the wrong body and you're actually a vulnerable woman. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to watch that one, mate, to be honest with you. It's a thought, but I think he's going to take one look at me and go, nah. Another one he said he thought about putting a tent in the van for times when you break down, pitch it the other side of the barrier, get a little stove, get your tablet out, get a film on. Well, it's a thought. Let's hope it don't happen too often, So, Rambata 10 says, imagine breaking down in Europe. Yeah, it's always in the back of my mind. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't really want to go into Europe. That, and also the other one is I struggle with the language barrier problem when you get into places and you can't really, you say, where am I going, what am I doing, if they don't understand you. But I'm sure it's not that scary. I'm sure lots of you are out there doing it all the time. They're probably laughing at me at the moment and calling me a wuss. Steve Davis, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Steve broke down in Glasgow and then realised he didn't have the right cover. So they were talking about 450 quid to tow him home. And he said, so rather than spending the 450 quid, he said, I've got a room for the night. And then the next day, you got a local mechanic to fix it. Makes a lot more sense. Also, if they tow you home, 450 miles, going to take you all day to tow you home, and then the next day you're going to have to get it fixed. You're off the road for 2 days. Mechanics, I've had it before. I was back in the day, I was driving out a Teesside in my old Escort, and something went, like 10 o'clock at night, and I got bed and breakfast, got it fixed the next day. It was done by 10 o'clock. So, anyway, it's always nice to be home, but sometimes get it fixed there. Lasco Mitu said he watched the video and then broke down the next day. It wasn't me. This isn't The Ring. You know that film where if you watch the video, then the nasty thing gets the person who watches the video rather than you. And I've thought about that film and that really isn't going to watch, with today's generation, they're just going to watch it and go, what's the video? Yeah, there's certain things that I've never quite understood. Morty Ludwig, yeah, the same thing happened to him. He had to wait on a motorway for ages, then get recovered to the service station, then wait again to get recovered again. Took him ages. He phoned the AA, and they said they agreed it was bad service and give him like 50, 60 quid back. I could, but I don't know. I might do that. I may well do that. I don't know, but I don't really want to push him. They did get me out eventually, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I've done it so many times before back in the days of the markets when vans were more unreliable, and you just go, well, it is what it is, so, yeah, A. Barton, he broke down in Clapham, the guy in the afternoon, the guy's hydraulics went on his truck, he didn't get out to him till 10 o'clock at night, and in the end, the guy didn't end up getting recovered till 10 o'clock the next morning, so I guess I can count myself lucky, at least I got home to bed. And Rusty Def 9 said, oh no, this is something completely different. Right, that's the on breakdowns. Right, we're back to the miscellaneous. Rusty Def 9, right. He questioned me on the job. He said the job is collecting at 10 o'clock at night, delivering 8 o'clock the next morning, short wheelbase, 70 miles. But he's got to go 50 miles to get it. I don't know if he had to go 50 miles to get it, and his passing it was 50 miles away from base. How much would you put on that job? Well, basically, on a short wheelbase going 70 miles, that job is worth round about 50 quid. You might get more because it's delivering the next day. You may get 70 because you've got to keep it overnight and stuff like that. The fact you've got to go 50 miles to get it, or you've got to go 50 miles back, is kind of academic to them anyway. Because I've seen jobs ping up before, and it's sort of like, say you're, I don't know, say I'm in Manchester, and there's a job going to say Wales the next day, and I'm thinking, well, I'm in Manchester, I can pick it up and then I can drive to Wales the next day, but you're not going to get the miles from Manchester to Luton and then Luton to Wales. You're just going to get the miles from Manchester to Wales. So you might be driving for ages, but they're only going to pay for that distance. That's the thing about the CX. The jobs will ping up near you. You take the jobs that are convenient to you. If it's a long way away, you ain't going to get more money for it. Someone else is going to get it. Or you're going to quote the money that you need to quote to do the job, in which case someone else is going to get it. But yeah, I would say on that kind of job, 50 to 70 quid. You might get a bit more if you're lucky. Obviously, the lower you, well, normally the lower you quote, the more chance you have. What have we got now? So, up to me, yeah, okay. Didn't realise that cameras on motorways flash at variable speed limits. Yes, they do. So, once that barrier's up, those speed limits go to 50, you get about 6-7 seconds. And then they'll start flashing at 50. If you go for it at 70, national speed limit does not apply. 50, that is it. So, you can get nicked. Adam Schiff, I've written about it again. Van sizes. He's put a thing on there on van sizes, what van sizes are what. It's still contentious, but I would say this. As a general rule of thumb, 1 pallet, short wheelbase. 2 pallets, medium wheelbase. 3 pallets, long wheelbase. 4 pallets, extra long wheelbase. 5 pallets, Luton, not curtain side. You can't get 6 pallets on the Luton, which isn't curtain side, because you can't get the 6th one through the door. 6 pallets, curtain side. Small van, box. It's not 100%. But if you go with that, and you measure your bed, talk to the shipper, but generally, if you stick with that, you ain't going to go far wrong. Rusky Man, Nupsky Man, I've got to learn to write. Thanks very much for the support. He likes the videos. Cheers, my friend. RK said about the tax, he said he prefers a flat rate where you charge 20% and you pay 10%. I don't know if that still applies anymore. So this, guys, is a question to everybody out there. As usual, like I say, I am the oracle here. I'm just passing on the questions. I'd love that, but I don't think it is. I think they changed it to like 14% or 16%, and I don't know if it only applies to certain people. But if we could pay, 20%, you charge 20% of the jobs and only pay 10% back, I'd love that. I might have to talk to my accountant about that. I'm not sure. Anyone knows better than me? Here I am. Please leave a question to answer in the comments. Goodwin's, and I'm coming back to Goodwin's game, and his accountant said, is he better off with, he said he might not even be better off with that. I think you've already put him straight on this one. To me, it's a no-brainer. You quote a job at £20, sorry, £100, the invoice comes through at £120. You charge them with the VAT, they pay you the £120, you put the £20 to one side to pay the VAT man. So the money that you charge is the money you just pass on to the VAT man. But everything that you run, your tyres, your service bill, my service bill, I'm with the alternator. I've done 750 quid this week so far. The VAT on that all comes back to you. Otherwise, you're just throwing away money. That's the way I see it. I'm not an accountant, but I think other people probably agree with me. Mark Lackland said, could we have a symbol on the job to say H for hospital, A for airport, say D for distribution hub? Wouldn't that be lovely? And wouldn't it also nice if we didn't have to send in paper PODs? I agree with you, mate, but one thing I will say is just because it's a hospital, just because it's an airport, doesn't necessarily make it a bad job. I mean, I've done hospitals before where I've had to deliver the white goods, and it's like somewhere down in Dorset, it's a tiny hospital. You just walk through the door and I go, you stick it over there. They're not all bad. I've had distribution hubs. I mean, I had one this week where I had to wait for an hour to get in, but they paid me. So it could put you off a job which actually isn't that bad. But, that was going to, and then I picked it up, I thought, oh God, it's air freight. Once again, barrier went up, walked in, handed over the paperwork, a bloke came out with a fork truck, took it off, job done. So they're not all bad. So it could put you off a job, which is actually okay, but I do agree with you though, I would like that person. John Ramsey. Should the CX vary according to the area of the country you're in? It's an interesting thought. The only difficulty with that is it doesn't take into account tramping. So a lot of people, and also, bearing in mind, I'm an ex-market trader, I would just get my mate who lives in Lincoln to join the CX for a lot cheaper and then just use his. I think the problem, it's very difficult to police that one. It's very unlikely they're going to do that. And also, say you might live in Wales, they give you a cheap CX, get up on a Monday morning, do your first job to Manchester, go all the way around the country and go back to Wales. So you're not actually in Wales, where the jobs, nothing against Wales, just if you're in the middle of Wales, there's not a lot of jobs. So yeah, I think that's the problem with that one there. Is it Ross Appel, got to learn to ride? Oh, he said he looked at my thing, he said, you did a job for £40, with a minimum price to Luton should be £75. Yeah, it should, but it doesn't always work that way. I mean, I've done, for starting a Luton, I can do small van jobs. I did one the other day for 23 quid. I wish I hadn't, but I did. But yet, on the whole, if I'm in a, say for example, you're in a place and it's the last place you're in a day, and they turn around and say there's 2 pallets over there, and they've got to go back to Dunstable. You got to live in Dunstable. Whereabouts in Dunstable? And they say it's got to go back to this business park. That's where I'm going. I'm going that way anyway. I'll take them. And they go, oh yeah, but I've only got 30 quid on the job. You go, well, I'll still do it. I'm going that way anyway. Put them on. When I get there, I'll put them off and then I'll park. So there isn't really a minimum. It's just if you, I think on a Luton van, you want to be charging 65.70. On a small van, you want to be charging 25.30. If you don't, if you run all day on a 5 or a 10, you're going to go skin. But there different circumstances do arrive where you kind of go, I once drove a small box, 240 miles for 120 quid. But that's 50p a mile. That's cheaper than you go out on a small van job. But I was going that way anyway. So I was going home. I got £120 for going an hour out of my way. So that's kind of the way it works. Yeah? Well, it works for me anyway. Darren from that trucking vlog. I'm sure he does this on purpose. That trucking vlog is back in the van. He's fed up. He said, he said, I remember what I got out of Riggs. He said, you don't get treated very well. And there is a freedom to the CX, which is quite nice. So his vlog's out there, guys. Please watch, please subscribe. He's a nice geezer. We've been talking. He had a blinding day on Thursday or Friday. I think he came in for a load of money. He didn't actually deliver anything. Turned up, wasn't there, paid waiting time. Well, no, turned up, had to take it back, so it didn't get delivered. Got return journey plus waiting time. Turned up, the next one wasn't there. Got paid waiting time. Watch the vlog. He'll tell you all about it, I'm sure. Tunnel Runner, oh yeah. He said the floods are becoming biblical. Yeah, now be careful with this one, guys. When you drive into a puddle or something like that, if it's deep, think twice about it. Watch the other cars, see what they're doing. Because if the water goes into your air filter, it will suck the water up through the air filter and it'll get in your engine. If that goes into your engine, that's it. Bang gone. Once you've got water in your engine's dead. So be careful. Having said that, being in vans, we're slightly higher up, so the chances are the people in the cars will get screwed first. And if you see them flooded, you can just turn around and go the other way. Mary Mion Annette said, what's the best company to rent a van from? Mate, I wouldn't recommend renting a van. I've still not come across a company which will give you the right deal for the right miles. If you end up renting a van, you end up giving, you're just doing money. I would say if you can buy a van, just buy the best one you can and just, try and work on it. And Alex Kobadesu, something like that, said, so I rent a van or not? Not really. If you can avoid it, the CX people prefer plain vans. That's it for that. And finally, Donkey and Digger, John, he phoned me. It was nice to have a little chat. And I think he's just been made redundant, and he's thinking about joining the CX in the new year. And he's got, I think his family are bigger now, but I think got a wife, he's got responsibilities. It's always difficult for me to say if you've got responsibilities what to do, because I wouldn't want to give someone a bum steer. But the one thing it did make me think of was my favourite. There's a film called Up in the Air with George Clooney, which I really like. And his character is he flies around the country firing people. He's a professional sacker. And he has to fire the geezer out of J. Jonah Jameson, the one who plays in Spider-Man films, the actor. He's also in Whiplash, that drumming film. Really good actor. And he sits there and he turns around and he says, the guy turns around, he says, my children look up to me, the guy's been fired. And George Clooney says, I severely doubt that. And he goes, what? He says to him, I've been looking at your resume. He says, you went to college. He says, you specialised in French cuisine, which is cooking, me and you. And he says, how much did this company give you to give up on your dreams, pay you to give up on your dreams? He looks at him, he says, 23 grand. So what are they giving you now? Oh no, that was it. I jumped onto it. 40 odd grand. He says, do you know why children love sports personalities, sports stars? He says, I don't know, because they date supermodels? He says, no, that's why we love sports personalities. Children love sports personalities because they follow their dreams. He said, how much did they pay? This is how much they paid you to give up on your dreams. He said, this is not a redundancy, son. This is a wake-up call. I don't know if it is a wake-up call. The only thing I do know, which has been, I keep saying, is the best thing about these videos for me, is when you bump into people and they go, oh, you want that geezer? And I go, yeah. And I go, they said, I'll join the CX because of you. See your videos. I've gone, oh, great, how are you finding it? And they go, yeah, all right. Mate, John, if you do it, I hope it works out for you. And for all of those that have joined and it has worked out for you, please be of service. And all of those it hasn't worked out for you, I'm ever so sorry. But, it doesn't work out for everybody, like, you know. But anyway, that was just it. So who knows? I guess that's going to happen in the new year. Not long to go now. Monday, basically. Won't be no jobs on Tuesday. Won't be no jobs. Well, Tuesday there might be some jobs. I'm going to the pub. Wednesday, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Thursday, Friday. I'm not going to work. Back the week after. But I'm sure I'll do another video between now and then. In the meantime, enjoy your Sunday. And for whatever's left, take care, take money.